And now, 2 years later, it's not just Tyloo. We've got a lot of teams. We've got a lot more competition in the entire region, which is great to see. And long may it continue as we head into our first best-of-3 series on the day here on the B stream. It's going to be that winner's match. So, winner of this team going to be going through their Group B, and it's the rivalry of the Koreans. So, let's head right into this one. Mirage, the first map, the pick of GOSU as well. And we head into their T-side pistol round. Already early utility thrown over to middle, and Jinx going to be flashing them out to try and take control.
Yeah, GOSU making it a mainstay to try and get control of mid early on in this pistol round, and they do manage to secure it. Now Zeph over here on short, he's going to get picked up. And him falling early does leave this mid portion of the map open. HSK going to go ahead and drop Zyne from the server, and that will be... Let's say bomb site crumbling down around MVP. Solo over here in jungle, really the lone defender at this point in time. Glow still a little bit away, now going to come rotating in. But it's a very, very tricky situation here for MVP. That bomb goes down, it's planted for short, and there is a man there that Solo now going to go ahead and fall prey to. That leaves Glow in an unlikely 1v4.
Yeah, and he's just been caught from ladder room as well, so he's got to move out into the A site where there are 3 players sitting. GOSU ready and waiting in the post plant. And the pistol round taken there to start things off. Definitely what you want to see, considering this is their map pick and this is their chance to, I wouldn't say necessarily winning this game would prove they're the best team in Korea by any means, but it would certainly start the road to that, right? Especially with these roster changes, with HSK in this team, fighting up against this old roster somewhat. But 1-0
yeah,
start.
I mean, I think even if you look at results domestically, MVP do sit in that #1 spot, right? GOSU trying to challenge for it, but I think you would look at it as them being the 2nd best team in Korea. Now, obviously, that's not a name tag that they're happy with. They want to go above and beyond that, and that's their chance to try and show that they can here. On the first day of the Asian Minor, already going to be taking control of mid once again early on for GOSU, looking to try and keep MVP at range while they have these AKs in hand. Now, MVP might be quite happy with that. Having 2 scouts into this round does leave their options open when it comes to tangling with the beast that relies down in mid. Smokes down at short, and that means GOSU, they're going to go ahead and send a couple of players into the ladder room. Keep your eye on Solo, who's got a very aggressive flank. He pushes all the way up from A. Akir is waiting for him. Some man advantage secured for GOSU. Still with this foothold in mid, and now the question becomes, what are they going to do with it?
And Zyne's even pushing up in ramp as well. Curious rotation from MVP. Zyne is taking ramp control, worked out that it's clear, but still MVP rotate all 3 players off of this B site. Now that's going to leave it open to the taking. And GOSU, well, they'll take it for free. HSK getting himself another entry, and now we have the B site under the control of the T's. Interesting call, maybe more of a gamble stack from MVP more than anything, or the fact that they got spotted on that flank from Solo and could have prompted GOSU to rotate. Either way, it's a free round taken with 5 players surviving for the time being. MVP looking to save these scouts for a rainy day, and the single CZ as well, purchased up on Glow, will be held. So a 2-0 for GOSU. MVP still with 1 more eco before we're going to see guns in their hands. And I am very much excited to see Zeta back on that AWP, because that has been a huge talking point for MVP since his addition.
So Hugo, I'm just curious, while we have this bit of a lull in the action, these 3 players saving, who would you say your 2 favorites are to make it out from the minor?
I think you've got to go with Renegades, right? I think that's a safe bet. Like, best team at the moment in terms of in this entire Asian Minor, undoubtedly. That 2nd place, well, that goes between Greyhound, who have already won their opening game and will be facing Renegades right now, and what I was going to say is MVP, because in terms of being proven, Greyhound and MVP are those next 2 best teams. I think MVP would even be 1 step above Greyhound, but I haven't seen too much from GOSU coming into this event. We know they're prepared, we know they're structured, so I think there's a very good chance that could happen. But if I had to commit to 2, I would bail and say I want to see what happens.
I'm going to go with Greyhound and Renegade.
Yeah, I want to, but I want a Korean team. That's the issue.
No, yeah, and I think that whoever drops down in that 3rd place decider stage, that's going to be where it really does get interesting. Because I think, if you look at some of these regions, I think the Asian one does stand a good chance of causing some upsets. That's what they've always been good at. And in that third place minor playoff slot, I mean, what better time to find those upsets, especially when I believe the format for that is in those upper bracket games is a best of one, right? So
there are best of threes.
Yeah, no, there are best of threes, but I'm pretty sure that moves down in when you get to the lower bracket, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah, we might have to double check that, but regardless, in this round, Hugo, you can see GOSU there taking control over in the apartments. I seem to remember because the thing I was a fan of, and the thing, you know, I kind of figured that maybe people wouldn't like that there's still best of ones at that point, but I think when, you know, when the minor is, when you've already had to go through the whole minor to cement that third place, it makes sense that it gets a bit cutthroat. I know, Hugo's plugging in the numbers, he'll figure it out. He's the stats man. Here's the pushing towards this B bomb site anyway, and Zion, he's boosted up. Now it's actually Glow to find them the opener. Jinx gonna get dropped. And do manage to pick him up at the very least over towards short. You can see the bomb rerouting in towards this A bomb site, and that's largely because of this presence from Stax, who's up in the jungle. Zeph trying to deny it, and oh no, he can spot him. Oh, that was kind of painful to watch those wallbangs miss. So close yet so far. Bomb down now for GOSU. Things looking good as they look to pick up a third. Solo just trying to hold on to the AK at this point in time, but they're not going to let him. And now these two scouts left up, both trapped in CT. Sadly for Zeph and Zeta, they're not long for this world. They're going to get plucked up. GOSU 3-0 start, but the bye on the cards for MVP in the coming round.
So you are right in saying they're best of ones, but yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. They're best of threes for the lower brackets, best of ones for the upper bracket. 2 spots, obviously 4 teams competing. We've already seen North and Windstrike guarantee their places there. But I do think it's a bit early to be talking about that third place decider, considering we're in the winners match to Group B. So
oh yeah,
maybe give it some time.
Yeah,
these boys are winners, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm still interested. That little third place decider playoff, it is really going to be one of the highlights of the minor for me. I think. Yeah, it's going to be so interesting seeing all the different regions compete and go head to head. I'm really liking that change. I think it's something that's been needed for a while. Because it does just reward whoever's playing the best. But heading into this round, Hugo, you can see they've taken control of mid. Solo tagged down a 5 HP, hiding in the smoke, and now he emerges. Oh. Solo the boogeyman. But HSK is not afraid of the monsters under his bed. Stax in with another, and this leaves Zeta trying to prove himself. Good for one, but still a lot more to do. Currently trapped over here in CT, does have support from Zeph over on short, but Stax is able to find them another opener. Immediately going to be traded out. It's HSK on this wrap round, and now he's got to try and 1v2 his old teammates.
This would be a huge clutch round from him. Bombs down in the open as well, but MVP have a crossfire for it. They're not aware of this flank, and Glow's taken a very strong position here. He can just wait for that eventual plant that will really likely have to be A. In fact, no one's even contesting the bomb because they know it's unlikely he'll be able to get it and rotate. Zeph is pivoting between the two, but he's not going to spot him. I think Zeph just missed the timing there, and now he knows the bomb's gone. They're going to move out of position. They think HSK has rotated, but Glow catches him. The timing is good for MVP. Almost a very unfortunate round there, but it's going to be them picking up their first CT side. A couple of rifles still held on as well, but GOSU did start things off with a 3-0 lead, so their buy won't be a problem for now. But this is GOSU's chance to reset the money early on, Harry. Break that cash, get rid of the AWP, and they have one for themselves. It's on Stax.
He's going to be taking that into mid, and Zeta immediately able to best the AWP over on the side of GOSU. So, man advantage picked up. If one team knows how talented Zeta can be, it is going to be this GOSU roster. They know they can't afford to let him get too warmed up. Smoke goes down over at the ramp, and Zion going to go to drop HSK from this round. Jinx and the rest of the gang out from Palace in the meantime, and it's Lakia to go ahead and deal with the point man inside of this A bomb site. But keep your eye on Zion, still under Palace. They know that there's a man here. Oh. Lakia will dispatch him through that smoke. Zeph on the wrap round from ramp now has to come up massive, but he has dropped that bomb. Minute and 5 seconds left, so plenty of time for Lakia to work with. As now he attempts to go blow for blow with Zeph in this clutch situation.
Oh, Lakia is taking a different approach to it, though, going back towards the stairs, back towards the jungle. Zeph, he's going to try and get aggressive, reposition. That smoke landing at his feet again. And Lakia, he's got the utility for it, but doesn't want to give away the potential that he has wrapped. So Zeph is very aware of this possibility. Doesn't know if he's inside the palace or if he has gone towards that T-spawn. And Lakia is just trying to wait out this smoke before he goes back in to pick the bomb. Zeph going to move in as well, and timing, it's all going to be on that. Lakia smoke in, and Zeph's just ready for it. You typically don't want to be throwing that utility down in those clutch situations. Is not only can you get caught with nades in your hand, but it gives away your position. You could see Zeph had no idea where Lakia was until that smoke was thrown. So an unfortunate round there for GOSU, considering Lakia had a huge three-piece, getting a couple of entries up onto that A-bomb site, but it will be broken alongside the money here for GOSU. MVP starting to kick things into the CT side, looking for their third round as they face Pistols.
Yeah, already MVP picking up the pace, and you know, since getting into these rifles, they have been the dominant team, albeit by the skin of their teeth in the round prior. This one, you're hoping they can keep it pretty clean, start to build up some money here on their CT side. Now, whoop. They're gonna get the trade.
That's worth it, I'd say.
I mean, you know, we've all had that happen to us in matchmaking.
It does hurt.
Yeah, it's never fun. And actually, this round really isn't shaping up to be all too clean for MVP. That's another man down over here towards A. Stacks on stacks, pushing out. Creeping forward, Deeg is going to go ahead and drop another man, so that leaves Zeph and Glow standing at 2v2, and this B-bomb site is ripe for the taking. Lakia and Seok going to be allowed to get that bomb down. And a little bit of time to set up in these post plants. They do have a smoke on Seok as well. Lakia just keeping them at bay over in the shop for the time being. Allows GOSU a tiny bit more time to work with here. Over on short, there's Zep. He's got plenty of utility, and he's going to go ahead and catch that first man by surprise. Glow follows up. Defuse comes in. MVP will be securing themselves a third round.
Yeah, I was going to give credit to the trading there of MVP, but when it's on pistol rounds, it's certainly not how close you want it to come in a 2v2 with a bomb down for GOSU. It's a great work by the T side there to actually get a good bit of damage down. But only an eco, so here's where the rifles can really come through, especially after that plant. We should have that AWP back in for Stacks as well. And, well, we've already seen that fight been lost from him in the past in towards middle. It's actually, he's not going to go for it. He has the money for it, but sticking with the AK here instead. Same story for Zeta, who doesn't quite have that money, and they didn't save it from him 2 rounds prior with that fight down on ramp in the 1v1. So MVP still waiting for that in the future. For now, though, aggressive mid take 2 players here on the CT side, and they're going to be met with 4 from GOSU, so look out for that. Already HSK catching out that top mid push, and he actually did have the AWP. I missed that. Zion still committed to middle, and with the nades and Molotovs flying in, they may force players out. Stacks hidden in the smoke. And Zion's going to go back in. The flash does land, but he's got to worry about this crossfire established in the top of middle. Seok waiting for it. Zion hits a shot. Stack's going to come around and try and trade things out, but Zion is being such a nuisance in this smoke. He'll find 2 from top of the boxes, and that bomb still dropped as well down bottom mid. This is turning out to be a fantastic round from MVP, or more specifically, Zion.
Yeah, he's gone off to a great start, but now he needs to see the rest of the team be able to follow through and keep things up in their advantage, as he has been brought down low. This A-bomb site may be looking a little bit tempting. Jinx has been given some ground over here toward Palace, just peeked out and spotted that there was no one jungle or stairs. So you can see the rest of the GOSU gang grouping up down in mid. That's HSK hitting that shot, and now that leaves the lone defender of Zeta over here in CT. A lot of work to do. Rotation coming in from Zion, but as previously mentioned, he's been brought down to just 12 HP, and another man falls over at this B-bomb site. That's Glow trying to rotate round through the short position. Bomb right now planted for mid, and with HSK there, that's going to make this a tricky retake for MVP. Tricky, but not impossible. So yeah, desperately trying to isolate some of these fights, and he's not able to. It will be HSK besting him. It's locking in a 4th round for this GOSU T side.
I have really been enjoying these post plants and these setups from GOSU. It seems like their mid-round calls and their recoveries are really, really nice when MVP get off to strong starts and get those early picks. So yeah, even though GOSU haven't necessarily been winning every single round, I like their approach to this T side. 3-4, and that money's been broken now for MVP, Harry. So this is a great way to get back into the game and take a distinctive lead if you are GOSU. The mid smoke going to elude Zef for now. We do have that ramp push from MVP. If there was any round to try and get aggressive, this would be it. Try and get information, work out where GOSU are, go for that stack. And you can see early on, Zine peeked down ramp with the CZ. He found nothing. So now MVP are going to gamble with a full B-side stack. Looks not too bad considering this bomb's outside the apartments, but with 2 players still committed to A for GOSU, it's definitely not clear yet. And that bomb's already begun to rotate back as well, so unfortunate stack from MVP. They are not going to be aware of GOSU leaving this bomb site until it is too late.
Yeah, you touched upon how we've been liking the CS coming out from GOSU. Well, they have been playing this very methodical style. They've been very slow in their approach. They've been checking all the angles, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. So they are going to be setting up for A, and as they get ready to throw these smokes in, MVP with the stack inside of B, they shouldn't be able to get anything done here. Solo, well, he's living up to his name. He's standing here alone, armed with only a USP and a dream. How much can one man do? Also be sure to bear in mind Lakia is on this wrap round. They hear that bomb go down, and they are going to be rotating players in, see if they can strip anything away from this GOSU side. Regardless, it will be a 5th round for this T side, unless something really goes disastrously wrong in this post plant. And that's certainly the ball rolling, but they shouldn't be able to get much more, and they know it. Glow's going to back off with the AK.
Ooh. Solo just trying to pick apart GOSU, maybe keep them in this bomb site so they go down with the bomb, but GOSU not going to fall for it. They will be forced towards the spawn because of Solo's position, and 3 players sit here. This is a huge stack from MVP, and no, the round is not going to be winnable, but they might find guns as a result, trying to pick them up. Seal going to get himself 3 more, and that's a really nice reaction, actually keeping this, or at least these weapons alive for GOSU. 5-3 though. Decent eco from MVP considering how little they invested, but it's still going to be GOSU finding the round, and now the buy does come through here for the CTs. AWP on Zeta as well. HSK does have that AWP. And he's going to go fast in towards ramp as well, but no early pick. Zeta is too busy back towards CT spawn, playing nice and passive. GOSU in the meantime setting up for a quick B execute, but the Molotov holding them back. They still look somewhat committed as HSK comes to join them, and GOSU going very early on into B.
Glow and Zeph stood here on the defending side. Do you have a bit of a crossfire lined up between the two of them? Flash gonna rain in, and actually that does hit Glow to full effect, so it falls to Zeph to try and be a shining example. Sadly, he's only good for 1, and these rotations already cut off that smoke raining into the window. Really does halt the progress for MVP and eliminates any chance of them getting back into this retake. They will just have to back off. GOSU going to move up 6-3. And once again, I mean, they're off to a bit of a flying start here on their map pick. If you recall, they win themselves the pistol. Then we saw the force spike from MVP in that 2nd round, which obviously GOSU road to beat out. They took that 3-0 lead. Then we saw MVP chain 3 of their own together on the back of winning their first rifle round. Since then, everything's come up GOSU.
So double that of which their opponents. Definitely not what we were expecting, but I do fear that 2nd map, and I feel like if GOSU do want to take the series, a Mirage is a necessity. But we'll see. For now, MVP have to work out the money situation. It's far from perfect. They're going to have to get pistols on these 2 that went down in the previous round. There's no real money to drop over full rifles. And so, pretty weak considering this could be a 7th round for GOSU, but what can you do? Zeta with the AWP back in middle, and the smoke is down, so no early pick coming from him. That's blocked off. Zine's in the connector, and Stacks will run right through. There's 2 players here. A 1-for-1 is better than you would expect, but the follow-up is going to be there from short. Zeph pushing up, and 2 off the CZ, dropping the bomb and opening up the round. The money may have been weak, but the result certainly wasn't.
Now, if they act quick, there is still time for GOSU to salvage this round. They do have a man trapped over here in mid. That's HSK. Just biding his time, waiting for Jinx to try and gain some ground, try and create some space for him to find something. And as he just edges his way around the corner, doesn't even get to see the man who drops him. It's his replacement in that MVP team, Zeta, to drop HSK. And now just Jinx remains. Has pulled it back from a 1v3 into this 1v2. The issue he's going to have is the AWP honed in towards this portion of the map. Now that first shot missed does give Jinx a bit more room to maneuver, but this crossfire between Zeph and Zeta is looking deadly.
And the time as well, starting to tick down, 35 on the clock. Zeta's already holding the angle and Jinx going to walk to his death. So MVP dealing well with these 2-on-1s. A wealth of experience on this roster as well, as we would like to, expect them winning those out. 4-6 now, 10 rounds deep, and the money is still fine here for GOSU. They've still got a bit of cash to play with. On the other side of things, when they have been losing these rounds, at least they've been bringing them close, right? They've been pulling it down to these 1-on-2s, these 2-on-2s, so it's not like MVP have been able to build up an economy on the city side by any means. They do have that AWP again for Zeta, but none on HSK, so fast mid-play here for GOSU. The smoke is already down in the connector to actually keep them out of it this time. And this gives GOSU free control and a bit of an adaptation from that previous round that didn't work out in their favor because of the connector. And short as well, which has now been double molly to keep Zeta back. Zeph back, rather. But GOSU establishing a lot of early control in this middle portion of the map, and this is going to make them very, very well to splitting into bomb sites. They still have the bomb up in the apartments as well, but Stax is in the connector. Seahawk has given up that top mid control and fallen back. So even if we see this cat play, they've got to be very careful, as these two GOSU players up in the apartments do look to peer into B. That's just lacking, and now the bomb are going to start to rotate back round because of Stax' position, and this could be a potential A split for GOSU, but remember, MVP still have two aggressive players on ramp. If they win this fight and drop the bomb, this round could fall apart.
Zion's forward position that can make or break this round for MVP. High risk, high reward, and Zion might just catch the timing. HSK will get picked up. That's the bomb dropped, and that means this fake from Lakey is not going to be fooling anybody. MVP almost fully rotating. They do leave Zeph short, at least to try and deny this wrap round. Stax in the meantime trying to push up through connectors. Zeta going to drop another man over at the ramp. And this round looking like it might elude the side of GOSU. Third kill, or second kill rather, of the round for the AWP in CT, and Stax. There's no time left. He has to get all the kills with just 4 seconds on the clock and trying to hide. He knows he can't go down after the time. Luckily enough, MVP will show mercy and let him hold on to the AK.
And while GOSU didn't know it, they managed to rotate, as you said, 3 players off of that A site to go down towards B after Lakia threw in 1 belt of utility into that bomb site because MVP was scared of that B execute that we saw just a couple of rounds ago. So GOSU, they do a great job of forcing that rotate, but the issue is, while they took that deep mid control very early on, they had no presence down towards the ramp, and as you said, that allows the aggression, it allows MVP to spot the bomb and therefore rotate players back into position. So GOSU now on pistols as a result. Nice attempt, but it's not going to work out for them. Neither will that fight up in the palace. Jinx getting dropped early on. GOSU very little into this round. We're really relying on that 1 AK to do the damage.
Yeah, there's that much more stock on it, just in the fact that, Stax actually can't afford to buy in this following round if they lose it. So really, he's hoping to find a bit of damage, hoping to pad his bank account out if he can. Kills anywhere $300, but if he's able to get 1 or 2, then suddenly that does open up the possibility of a buy in the rounds coming. So actually quite a bit of waiting, rather, on him finding something with this AK. He's going to try and take a position over here in the palace. Zeta's looking at the ramp, and he will open things up for MVP. Going to extend that man advantage that much further. Stax walk into his demise, into the crosshair of Zion, almost makes that look too easy. This will be just Lakia and HSK left standing, so not really expecting too much from them here. MVP, one of the things they were kind of struggling was building up any sort of economy over on the CT side. A lot of these ecos have been allowed to get out of control in favor of GOSU. This time around it looks like that won't be the case. And ooh, HSK. I was going to say, very unfortunate, he's not quite able to grab the AK in time, but there we go. And now Zeta missed shot. There's still a chance for GOSU, and just as I'm giving them praise for not letting this round get out of hand, it does exactly that. I thought that was all said and done. The second HSK pushed E to try and pick up the AK, accidentally grabs the pistol, so it makes the dropping sound, and then that baits the peek in from Zion into Palace. Now, he misses that spray onto the man up close. Second he goes down, though, you note that the player they had over towards stairs on the side of MVP just completely blindsided, right? Imagine that Zion had control of Palace, which, of course, he did not. And so that round actually comes a lot closer than it ever should have. So once again, MVP teetering on the edge of a reset here.
It goes both ways, though. Both teams with no money in the bank. So an important round to decide the fate of the rest of this half, who will be taking that lead and who will be probably keeping it as we go into the second. Fast connect play from GOSU, no info for MVP, and take a look at Solo. He's got a lot to do here as they burst through the smoke. He's on the other side and he lines up two. Lots of damage to Stacks. He may be able to get away from this one as well, back in towards the connector as he hides in the corner. Seok winning that duel. And now it's swung heavily back in the favor of GOSU. This bomb yet to be retrieved, but the shot getting hit from short, and Glow's even found himself in the spawn as well, cutting this one down. And it's fallen apart for GOSU, and it continues to break. As Lakia drops the bomb on the site, it's going to be Seok being the last man alive. Does catch that rotate down in the CT spawn, but now it's going to be Zeph coming back from the catwalk. Seok tries to sell the fake, he doubles back. His score may be elite, but we've got to see if he can do the dirty with 40 seconds left. He might be able to catch up this one man. Tunnel vision down into the connector. There it is. And Seok wins the battle. 7 rounds to go to another important rifle round.
I don't think I've ever seen someone with the kill assist death of 1-3-3-7 till now.
Really?
Yeah. At least not like in a pro match.
It's pretty common.
I don't know about that.
I've already seen it multiple times.
Really? Oh,
yeah. That surprises me, Harry. You've seen the James Bond, you've seen the Bames John.
Yeah, Bames John is my favourite. Because it's always exciting when someone's getting off to a 7-0 start. A full-on Bames Johnding. That is just great. This is an eco from MVP, and okay. I was going to say they shouldn't be able to find anything, but maybe they can. Zeta just deletes a man through the smoke. Yeah, it should be the mop-up for GOSU, who have done a fantastic job of keeping these rounds a lot cleaner than that of their opponent. Only Zeph remains. He's going to get chipped down over here in CT. Finished off an 8-6 lead and a bye on the cards for MVP at the very least into the next round. Crucially, they're going to bring that AWP out on Zeta, which really has been a mainstay of their success over here on the CT side. What other, like... Oh, you know what? No, this is an important round. Maybe we'll leave this this topic for another day. I was gonna ask if you knew any more of the KAD like number things.
I mean, they're just numbers. I know a lot of numbers.
Yeah, that's true. I know a couple of numbers too.
Well, round number 15, that's a number as we head into the last round of the half. As you said, Harry, an important round. A chance for GOSU to get this 9-6.
I thought you just realised.
Close.
Does that famous skin say Harry Inc. on the top? I'm pretty sure it does.
What, Zeph's?
Yeah.
If we could spec him, that'd be nice.
Oh, you've made the request, and now that you've done it, it's not going to happen.
Been pranked.
We have been pranked.
There we go.
Hey, look at it.
Oh, no, it's gone.
Just... I hope someone caught it. Clip it. No.
Either way, GOSU went and set up for an early A play, but they've already backed off. This bomb's rotated back round, curiously. So MVP still have aggressive ramp control, and we've seen this really come back to haunt GOSU in the past. Now, they're setting up for a B play where Zeph and Glow do sit. And yeah, it does. It does say Harry Inc. Harry. interestingly enough.
I never knew that.
No,
I got to get me one of them now and only play with it because that's how in love with myself I am. Here's Glow holding down this B bomb site rather. Does have support from Zeph over at short. Glow just has to try and buy that much more time for these rotations solo as well. Going to be wrapping in through the lower tunnels. He's hot on their heels. Could look to do a boatload of damage. They're not looking entirely ready for it. HSK pivots around up in the apartments, does spot the lone gunman out. And that leaves GOSU once more sitting a man up in this post-plant situation.
Very difficult retake with no kits and no utility for MVP. Plus, they've not even got one M4 to their name. I mean, this could not get much worse. Jinx, 1-for-1 up on short. The Stacks will get a further frag, and just like that, it's closed out. 9-6.5 for GOSU. A very, very good half from Siok as well. He had 17 kills at the end of it, as you can see. And HSK, obviously, you're really sending it packing to his old team. But we have that second half in just a moment after this short break, so do join us in a sec.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, HyperX, Betway, and Pay Safeguard.
Well, the first half landing 9-6 up in favor of GOSU as they are looking good off the bat here on their map pick. Now moving to their CT side. Can they keep the good times rolling? Or are MVP going to rise up and be able to take this second half? Only time will tell. The pistol round underway. And GOSU, they do have this smoke on at Lake here. 4 players stacked up in that B bomb site off the bat. They haven't seen nor heard anything just yet, and they won't for some time. Eventually, GOSU, they have to get it in their heads that maybe, with no presence shown, no noise made, this is going to be the A play, and these smokes certainly going to telegraph that fact. They make the decision to leave CT open. We see lots of teams opt to do this. Now, Lakia is here. But MVP, they're just going to straight up challenge him through the smoke. Jinx finding so much damage onto the Glow as he tries to get that bomb down. A 5v5 retake, though, will ensue. And With the kit on Lakia, GOSU do at least have a bit of time to work with. No Flash, actually no, Flash gonna get thrown in by Globe right now, so they try and peek on the back of it, but all three players fall as this pissed around suddenly gets thrown back into question. Glow has to do something monstrous, and that double might be enough. Time ticking down, Zayn out in the open, but Jinx landing the double kill at the very end, defuses in, and GOSU, they managed to recover that, which heading into that retake, I really didn't have any faith in them doing. You had the Flash for CT, you had 3 players there. That's a strategy that we see a lot of teams like to run now if you try and execute into this A-bomb site, is you take a very active stance in grabbing CT control. I just don't think they anticipated 4 players being on the other side of that flashbang, ready and waiting.
Yeah, and they didn't get flashed as well. They were very much prepared for that push into the CT spawn. And the reason being is because when we had Lakia back off of A, he jumped in that CT spawn by the APC, and he spotted these players setting up aggressively. So he knew that that flashbang was coming through, and I think that's a lot of the reason why GOSU set up with 4 players in position. Either way, a nice pistol round start, but oh, what a recovery in the second. Zeta and Zeph both finding entry kills immediately into middle. Kept alive by Seok, who does put it back into the 4-on-3. But there's so much room now for MVP to work with. That A site is completely empty. And Lakia doesn't want to rotate round CT too early because this window boost can be employed and it will. So now it's down to Seok to rotate off B and watch this. Now that gun dropped gives away the noise. So GOSU should be somewhat aware that this window control is in the hands of MVP, but now they're getting a bit aggressive over on B in the meantime. Stax is pushed up in the apartments. He's going to be able to cut off this one player, and that bomb's going up catwalk as well. So now it's looking like a B play, and I think Stax has realized it. But GOSU, they've yet to rotate these 2 players off of that A site.
Stax really does have to go above and beyond in this situation. 2 players over at short. He's going to wait for them to get in a bit closer with the MP9 before he springs his trap. Rotation from Seok, but Stax offers himself up to solo on a silver platter. Now just Lakia and Seok standing. Flash on through to try and open things up, but they've already found Lakia. Now Seok falls shortly after. MVP a 7th round as that force buy and the second prevails. And yeah, I mean, the scary thing is there, the second you get off to that double kill start that MVP were able to grab early on, fantastic shot from Zeta down mid with the Deeg, and then also I believe it was Zeph to find the other with his AK that was thrown onto him. When that happens, they were able to retrieve those guns. You saw that they had 2 AKs into that round anyway, and then they're able to retrieve an M4. They pick up a FAMAS as well. They actually had more weapons than that of GOSU to work with into that site take. And you know, you saw with the aggression into the apartments from Stax, I thought that maybe that might have turned the tide. The second he spots the player pushing in, he hears the rotation up short. I think GOSU maybe getting in their own heads a bit, anticipating that it might have been a fake, which, you know, on the basis of all the information he was able to get, I don't think, you know, I think maybe they just brained themselves a little bit too hard. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe overthought how MVP were going to play into that round.
Especially after Stax gets the info that 2 players pushing Cat and he has an MP9. I'm not sure why he Y-peaks and tries to take the fight. Rather wait for your team to rotate in. Your team has utility. They're coming from the market. They can flash you out. You can get aggressive. You can reposition. He definitely didn't need to peek wide on short, which was the swing kill that put MVP not only back in the advantage, but free into B. Just his presence there delays that push, essentially. So, unfortunate round for GOSU, but great work from MVP to keep things close, not letting these CTs run away with this one, considering the rivalry we do have between these 2 teams. Now it's pistols, only on GOSU. Play out through the ramp. The Molotov does force Lakia aggressively and does have a flashbang behind it, but no one getting blinded here for MVP. HSK, he's going to get dunked, and Zayn finishing it off as well. Looking like a nice clean round from MVP, as you kind of would expect with this sort of buy. I think now with these guys saving, it's a bit of time to talk about the rivalry between these guys, because in terms of head-to-head matches and times that these 2 rosters have played, at least across the entirety of last year, you know, they played quite a lot of matches. I think about 12 games against each other, and well, they've only, well, GOSU have only won once against MVP. So in terms of storyline there, it's pretty one-sided in their history. So I'm kind of excited to see if this will be the chance for GOSU to double down, to take their second victory.
Well, I mean, so this is one of the interesting things about this GOSU roster, right? They are I think you could definitely make the case for them at least being the second best team out in Korea. And they're a team that hasn't really been given too many opportunities on land. They always get so close. If you take a look at their results in qualifiers, you take a look at their performances there, they always manage to get so far into the system and then always have it stripped away from them right at that final hurdle. And one of the teams that has been doing that is this MVP roster. So there's a bit of a rivalry there. And now they finally get to try and settle that on land. Obviously, then you bring into that the fact that Zato was traded with HSK between these two teams. So we kind of have that inside informant on either side. Obviously, HSK moving over to GOSU, and now, you know, one of the stars within this team. I think it's ended up in a situation where both teams have benefited nicely from it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the rivalries that we have going on here, and also how well acquainted these two teams and how familiar with each other they're going to be. I think that's very interesting and not something that we really got to see all too much from the other regions.
The mind games, Harry, they're always fun in domestic rivalries, but as one-sided as this has been in the past, this game is not looking to be so similar. 10-8, looking to be made 10-9 as MVP fast play the catwalk. It's a heavy stack with pistols, but Zeta is just tearing them apart. Jinx grabs himself a gun, but it's still going to be shut down by Solo in the connector, and now Stack's alone. He's lost the B site. He's only on a deagle. May as well go for this to try and get some damage off and limit MVP's growth of their economy, but surely not winnable.
Bomb has been planted.
No, it's not. I was hoping he could have maybe found something there. It looked like he just caught the timing. Zeph had looked away from shot back towards short, but makes that decision to recheck it, and that will be their undoing. 9-10. MVP trying to close this gap. And if you do recall, Hugo, we've already seen GOSU earlier on today. They were able to pick up a monstrous first half in their match just earlier on versus Vici. And then it ended up coming down to the wire. I believe it ended, what, 16-13 in favor of GOSU on the back of what was once, you know, at one point in time, an 8-1 scoreline.
And it's not just here that's close as well, Harry. An A-Stream update for you guys. It's 12-11 to Renegades over in that domestic rivalry as well. But let's keep in the here and the now. It's a fast B play from MVP, looking to get locked down by GOSU. A heavy setup on this CT side with 4 players committed. And they started off this push already a man down, so MVP looking to bail, looking to turn tail and bring this bomb back through the A site. The issue is such a long rotation, and GOSU, they're going to realize in time, I would imagine. Even if they don't, they have that kit for the retake. But MVP not out of this round yet. At least they have heavy utility. They will decide to split up to try and both become individual playmakers rather than trade off of each other. Zeta can look to relieve some of that pressure in mid.
Oh, Jinx. He's toying with the idea of going with the peak. Oh, he didn't. He keeps getting so close, you know. He really wants to. You can tell that the physical restraint to not go any further around that corner. And Seok, well, he will find Zeta attempting to sneak up through the connector. Lakia from CT drops Glow up in the palace. So GOSU, they're able to hold on to that round, and on top of that, they keep it very, very clean. 5 players staying alive, going to be very beneficial. That was one of the things we saw MVP struggling at doing over on their CT side. No such issue for GOSU in that round, and they are keen on keeping this lead, keeping that momentum going, and not letting MVP build back into this game.
Well, faster approach to A, it seems, for MVP. Quick execute, potentially. We do have 3 in the Palace, which is a curious decision. It limits your ability to throw utility, but they really don't have a lot anyway, so you may as well take the gunfights. A 1-for-1 where the bomb dropped, and Jinx has to watch for this flank in the connector. He does. Massive round for Jinx, but eventually polished off by Zine, who can't get any further than the center of the site. Zeta's even walked past the bomb on top of the balcony. And this is looking like an all GOSU round, unless Zeta, against his old team, can outbrain them. But I like how passive GOSU are playing. This is what we talk about when we say that, you know, they play very calculated CS to a certain, you know, aspect. A lot of teams, especially in the Asian region, would have been fighting this 3-on-1, but they're giving Zeta room, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because he's just wasting time. No idea where these CTs are, trying to catch them in the midst of rotation, but the only rotation we're seeing is Seok all the way wrapped towards the B apartments. That bomb is still under the control of MVP, though little to GOSU know.
Yeah, the issue Zeta is going to have here is kind of, as you say, they've given him room to work with, sure, but it's not without them being ready elsewhere. You know, you do have HSK battening down the hatches over here on CT, near him, to trade things out in case that first frag goes the way of MVP. You've got Stacks here. They make the decision just to hold on to this AK. If they do so, buy will be available to them in this next round, so it's not the end of the world. But a 12th round for GOSU. As you've highlighted, in all the matchups we've ever seen between these two teams, GOSU have been able to best MVP once thus far. And that's not in one series, that is in one map. That map was Inferno. You know, one of the stronger maps within the GOSU pool, unsurprisingly, was banned out by MVP in this series, so we don't get to see it make its appearance.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, that second map being Nuke, right? That's a map that the MVP have never lost to GOSU, and in the times they've won it, the majority of the time those being dominant victories as well. So it's a little worry, which is why we put some onus on GOSU needing to win this game, needing to win this map if they want to take the series. But they clearly come into this one prepared, and boy is it paying off. 12-9 here on this LAN matchup, which may be somewhat to do with it. MVP typically facing this team online. Solo going for the smokes towards the B site, and we have lots of players here for MVP to commit.
So the curious thing to me in this GOSU map pool is the fact that they don't play Dust 2, right? You have to have that as your insta-ban if you're them. And the reason why I find that so weird is, you know, you think about Dust 2, it's a very aim-heavy map. It's one that suits it to those faster play styles, which is something that we know this GOSU side are a fan of. Especially, you know, with this addition of HSK into the roster, you imagine he could look to try and do damage there, but not something they have in their sleeve. That's why we've ended up on the maps that we have. They have control of short, and they're looking to try and push into this B bomb site. There is the AWP of HSK trying to contend with the player up through connector. The rest of the players falling left and right inside of B. Everything going to be coming up GOSU right now, as suddenly it is Zeta put into this 1 versus 3. Feels like it's going to be a GOSU round, and a pretty dominant one at that, unless he can really do something spectacular. And HSK holding the angle, has his teammates back. Oh! Jinx, you rascal. 13th round, Hugo. And, you know, this the time that MVP are to work with on this map is fast drawing to a close. You imagine a 14th should be picked up by the GOSU side. Unless something goes very, very wrong. With all these smokes being purchased up, it could very well go wrong. You know, with all these, you can go ahead and throw down the standard wall of smoke. So you have, you know, the one at cross, the one over on stairs, one for CT, and then you can use the other two to try and nullify the player down under scaffolding, maybe over in sandwich. Some things that we see, you know, some interesting things that maybe we see these Asian teams do every now and again is where they throw like a wall of smokes that they attempt to run through just to get that bomb down. So or maybe we see that. But the initial barrage is going to go down in mid. That's where the first smokes end up. One in the window, one over at short. Perhaps trying to get GOSU's attention fixated on that mid portion of the map. Now, this hasn't worked.
But what it has done, Harry, is it's forced a lot of early utility out of GOSU. They have no real nades left, and that's a big key of this round for MVP. So when they go for the actual smoke execute over on this A site, no Molotovs can hold them back, no re-smokes can be deployed. So late in the round, 47 seconds left as these come over. The issue is there are still 3 players here for GOSU, but a lot of that is going to be relying on Lakia, who's sat on top of this balcony. Only got to really deal with Glow coming out of the apartments. If he can get control of the palace, that'd be fantastic here for GOSU. The timing may be good as well. Glow going to creep into it, but the missed shot from Lakia, that will cost him an AK. And now with these smokes going down, the A site might be GOSU's. HSK going to try and challenge him from the CT spawn. MVP trying to overrun him, and they will do so with a pistol up close. It's down to a 2-on-2, and this should never have got so close.
So close from South through the smoke. It is going to be Stax to actually pluck a man from this round, and now it's Zayn. A 1v2 required, but he's got the AWP, but he's got that frag onto Seok. Now only Stax left to try and overthrow a round that they had no business picking up. He shoots him down in the leg, but he's on the bomb, and Zayn, he's going to go running round, but the defuse might come in just in the nick of time, and indeed it does. GOSU at 14th as Stax on Stax holds the defuse, and that will be a 14th round. My goodness, the balls on that man.
That is a huge play, Harry. Not only just dry crossing, not trying to jiggle, just jumps, gets leg, like, all right, just going to stick the bomb.
He's wounded, he's bleeding out, and he's still holding the defuse. A hero of GOSU, right when they needed one.
Wow.
Really not something he ever should have got away with, and he knows it. But I kind of admire that, you know the pressure's going to be on for Zayn in that clutch. You know he's going to be, possibly overthinking some of that. The second he lands a tag, there's no way you expect them just to hard stick that defuse. And now, faster play in towards mid from MVP, and this time they've got the rifles to work with. They found the quick double onto Jinx and Lakia, and Trey comes in from Seok. They still have a lot of players to try and contend with, one of which gonna be Zayn, who's out for revenge. He will actually get put in the ground. So now Stax and HSK double AWP, all that remains for GOSU, but they're in with a chance.
Yeah, and look at that bomb rotating now with these players coming up from the CT spawn. MVP bail on the A site, and it could be the best call being made because there's no one here on B. We've already sent a solo man in the form of Zeta to try and clear this one out, and now Stax is going to decide to rotate into the market. Both these players, in fact, for GOSU. A nice read, but maybe a little bit too late. They won't be able to stop the bomb plant, but they might be able to give it a go in the post. Zeta's cut down Stax this time, and now HSK, you may even just consider bailing from this round. Give MVP their 10th. It was that fast connector play that really caught GOSU off guard after a very frantic previous round. Don't think they expected that kind of pace to be established in middle, and now this game is getting very, very close. 10 rounds to that of MVP.
Ooh. He hears that someone's hunting for him. Really can't afford to lose this AWP. So he will just get away with it. Holds his ground over here in connector. Hide and seek champion HSK. Buy available over on the side of MVP as they win that round and start to build up some money now on the T side, which is going to prove crucial to their success. At this scoreline, there's nothing worse than losing a round and then having to force buy, staring down the barrel of map point. But they won't have to run that risk. GOSU onto the reset here, don't really have much to work with. They held the AWP forward, but that is essentially it. Main talking point right now is Seok sitting top of the board for GOSU, 25 kills. He's been performing lights out for this team.
And another one is how Solo is struggling. Not typically what we see here for the MVP side. He's got 7 kills, very slow game. Be great to see him step up here and now, try and pull MVP back out of this rut. He'd have a top frag or a top score performance over on that previous game versus Beyond as well. 22 kills over on Mirage, in fact. So funnily enough to see him falling off here, but maybe he can start to recover as we head into another rifle round. GOSU with pistols and that solo AWP saved. So HSK looks for the early pick down in the middle. He's going to get aggressive as well. Very ballsy call to be made, but you've got to have this AWP go ham if you want to win this round. Unfortunately, it's been spotted, and MVP are ready to rush into that B site. Solo trying to pressure, fast cat, and now we're going to see that drop in. Stax is fully blind, but they've run right past him, and they haven't checked his position. Stax gets himself one, but only one. As the trade comes in, these T's are going to overwhelm the bomb site. HSK could not stop that plant, and already Jinx, the one man who retrieved a rifle on Catwalk, gets picked off. It's again a leg on the cross. But HSK has now got the angle taken, and Zeta got to be careful to peek back in either way. Well, this bomb should be going down very soon. MVP are in a great spot unless Lackey can catch a timing onto shore.
And he does. He's somehow been allowed to pull this back to a 2-on-2. There is still the kit on HSK, but at this point you're relying on MVP giving you a means back into this round, giving something up. Zion actually missing those shots, and HSK now down into the 1v1, still has time. One shot is all that's required from either party here. The issue that HSK is going to have is the timer on that bomb, and there's not much time left. He's going to back off. Zion goes hunting, tries to pick him up, and it's a game of cat and mouse. It's going to be an 11th round for MVP.
Ooh, having deja vu.
Yeah. This time, once more, HSK is able to get away with the AWP. So he's done a good job of holding on to that at the end of these rounds.
And now we really have a game on our hands, Harry. 14-11 with MVP again having to anti-eco against GOSU. So while it comes down once more to the wire, I'm glad this AWP is saved because it means GOSU do have another chance to win this round. However, far less invested, just pistols, no armor. That A execute, it seems, for MVP, and Zeta trying to keep their attention diverted towards the middle portion of the map where HSK, well, he'll reaggress. Unsurprising. We saw it before and we'll see it again. This time it finds a pick.
Ooh, Lake here. Immediately mopped up. Seok going to go ahead and face the same fate. Well, it was looking like maybe these pistols could have found something. I think you're bang on, Hugo. This looks like MVP might be picking this one up. Zion on 3 kills. He's exploded into this A bomb site. And finally, they're able to strip the AWP away from HSK as well. Zion with 4, Glow on 1, MVP with 12 rounds to their name. They're closing this gap. They're building back into this. And if you're GOSU, this is where you're going to start getting into your own head, maybe bringing yourself down a bit, because they did have this massive advantage. They were the team to almost reach that point on their map pick first, and now it looks like that could get stripped away from them. You think back to Inferno just earlier on when we saw them play versus Vici, and it was a similar story for this GOSU side.
But they were able to close it out, Harry, so have some faith. Well, I do agree. And we do have a bit of an update over on the mainstream as well. Renegades, 16-14 win over Greyhound. So the Aussie rivalry will start over there. And that was actually Cash, the pick of Renegades. So they've taken their map pick by the skin of their teeth. Mirage will be up next if you haven't had enough of Mirage already today. A little surprise as well. You are going to have a lot of Mirage over the course of this week. The Asian teams and the Australian teams do really love it. So I'm excited for that as well. We've had pretty much only Dust 2 for the past week, considering we had the CIS minor.
Yeah, that is very true. That was the most played map there. It's interesting to see how that differs region by region. Obviously, a lot of people are anticipating the Dust 2 would once again kind of become the mainstay of a lot of these CIS teams. Oh, here's Stacks. Over at B. First shot does land. Second, somehow he get a tag side. Not sure how that was the tag, but he's able to tank a shot to the chest. It's Glow in solo, continuing to hold down B. MVP a 13th round guaranteed as HSK, you can see, falling off the angle. That's a very gut-wrenching call to have to make, especially with the man advantage initially going in favor of this CT side. But that AWP just overwhelmed at B. The worst thing about that is for GOSU, those rotations were a lot faster than usual. They were able to open things up inside of the bomb site. They did a lot of damage. They held back that initial push for a little bit. But those rotations, despite being there the fastest and really what we've seen in any of these retakes from GOSU, leaving them with plenty of time, they were just finished off so quickly.
HSK is the AWP saver once again for GOSU. Seems like that's been his role these past few rounds, and I don't blame him with these fast executes that MVP have been throwing in, you're right. They've got so much bank as well. That's the issue now. If you're GOSU, you're having to go for another eco, believe it or not. And at 14-14, MVP are not going to have any trouble buying up for the rest of regulation, whereas GOSU, they're going to have to win their round. They're going to have to, otherwise this could just be a loss after a fairly strong lead at one point on this one. HSK missing the opening duel, but he does spot 2 players with the bomb down on ramp. It's actually 3 bursting through, and they've all been seen still with a 1-for-1 coming through. We may see MVP bail out again. They've taken the kill up from Connector. Solo's pushing up on the flank, but he's just drawing all the attention back. With him getting kills, well, they dropped off of ramp. They want to re-aggress because they've already got the A site and taken down the AWP. 2 CTs left up, too far away.
Oh. Zayok somehow manages to get away with 1, but yeah, he's been brought down, so there's really no chance for him back into this round. MVP going to be tying it up now 14-14, and GOSU, they're having some flashbacks to the game earlier today where they did start throwing it away. Now, obviously, the difference there is they were able to close it out. But MVP, they're not looking to give them that luxury. They're looking to show no mercy, and the issue you're going to have if you're GOSU is while you have a bye into the next round, if you lose and you hand map point over to MVP, you're onto a force into round number 30. So this next one becomes, to say important for GOSU is an understatement. If they don't pick this up, this could very well be the 16-14 comeback from MVP. Which actually, thinking about the fact you head into Nuke next, really does set this series up to be a quick one.
Yeah, it does not bode well for GOSU, and that would be a horrible upset as well for them, considering, you know, the rivalry between these teams and the fact that MVP consistently win games versus GOSU. They finally take a lead on LAN, their important matchup, a winners game for their group, and they choke it, Harry, but it's not over yet. However, it's very, very close. HSK tagged in middle this time, but we do have that fast execute out through A. Lackey are going to spot it, but he can't stop it. We're already getting wall banged out and getting caught with a nade in his hand. It's Zyme to find the first. Now MVP sitting a man up, and if you're GOSU, do you even go for this? You're a man down, 2 orbs, HSK tagged, and you don't have this A site. Definitely a good reason to try and save and play for overtime here, and I think they agree as well. Jinx going to try and get out of that jungle. And if you're MVP, this is where you hunt. This is where you chase, because you want to take away guns from GOSU. You don't want them to have that money coming into what could be the final round of the map. And so here we go. Solo already starting to chase the underpass, and we even have players in the spawn.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I admire the save here from GOSU. They know that they're not going to have anything to work with into the next. The issue is Solo's here and he's hunting them down. They cannot afford to throw these guns away. And they manage, oh no, Zyme gets 2 players there somehow. They lose the AWP, they lose their rifles. They went for that save, and that's the issue with it, right? If you're going to go with that, there's no way that MVP don't come hunting. They're not going to let you take 4 rifles for free into the last round of this half. And so it is a monstrous job on behalf of Solo and Zyme to pick up those 3 players at the end, because look what it's done to this buy for GOSU. You imagine they would have had everything here. They would have had the AWP, the rifles, full utility. And now they've got none of that. Oh, just no. 2 rifles, well, 2 M4s in play. Famas over and Sayak, but already man advantage secured here for this MVP side as they look to have made the comeback happen. Looking like it should be a 16-14 victory unless Stax and Lakia can hold on to this.
Oh, and the timing as well. Luckily, Lakey is round the corner and he does catch Solo, but the B site's been given up again. MVP taking control of this round by storm and by force as these 2 CTs look to try and get their heads back in the game, but instead they're getting ripped off. Lakey are dead. Stax is the last man alive. And it seems like GOSU, they tried their best over on their map pick of Mirage, but MVP, the experience shined through. It's a 16-14 win, and they are going to be going through to Nuke, the second map of the series, the pick of MVP, and the map that has been so troubling for GOSU in the past. So this has really set us up for a great series for MVP, but a sad story for GOSU, who were at one point leading on this